everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Beach Court Podcast. My name is Eric Ridgway. We have Max Corcoran, Parker Greenwald here. We're going to take you through it this week. We're going to give you our thoughts on the Play Pokemon Access app that was just released in the United States this week. We'll also give you our masterclass on how to master locals, cups, and challenges. The new season has started. There's people that already have 3 cup wins, which is like insane. But yeah, the leaderboard's starting to shape up already. So we'll give you our thoughts on how to master locals. Of course, I'll have my favorite segment, trivia, where I'll try to stump the boys again this week. And then we will wrap it up with our early thoughts and questions about the black and white meta and how it's changing and evolving. And we'll give you our thoughts. And then next week we've got World. So leading up to that episode celebration next week, boys, how was your weekend? You guys have a good week?
Weekend was good. It was pretty low key. Again, and just enjoying some time in town. Got in some good practicing for Worlds.
Nice.
Got in some good exercise. Was kind of running all over the place Saturday, so it was
You're
rather
welcome.
busy with that. But yeah, I got a lot of steps in, which is always good. So good for the exercise. Yeah, and other than that, just like having a good time. Let's see, at locals this past week, I was playing some Goldango, of course had to get some in-person reps with the Genesect. It went all right. What was my...
You said you played against 2 Typhlosions.
Yeah, I played against 2 Typhlosions and beat them, which is
That
a
is
bit of an
crazy.
anomaly. But I mean, really, it was just like, they all played like 3 Typhlosions. So I'd go like in with Caesar, or I'd go like in with the first Goldango, they'd go KO, and I'd go like respond to Caesar, and then they go KO with Typhlosion. I go KO that Typhlosion with Typhlosion, and then they go KO me back. And then for the last Typhlosion, I'd be like, Iono, KO the last Typhlosion, and it's like, out of Iono due to 1, like figure out, recover a Typhlosion and attack with it, and they never pulled it off. Plus, one was playing one played Fez, and the other played Zoroark, actually, is the engine, so there were some 2 prize liabilities that I could like capitalize on as well. So I barely got there. My one loss was to a Poltenor. I made like a slight like mistake early, which like put me behind. It was a pretty back and forth game. So, but overall feeling good. And if anyone is looking to enjoy locals like me in person, we do have to let you know that FCBC has granted us a Worlds code for you to pick up your sleeves. Code only goes until the 10th. So if you listen to this episode, check the date and make sure you can use it by the 10th. But BC Worlds is the code for 15% off your order of FCBC sleeves, fcbcarmor.com. Anyways, we're loving them. I'm definitely using these to Worlds. I got a fresh pack of Periwinkles right here. Definitely sleeving my deck up in these for Worlds. And yeah, I mean, just really trying to enjoy the weekends that I have and practice as much as I can while trying to take care of life too. So
Yeah.
Parker, what about you? What you got going on?
My week was pretty low key, so I dropped off my girlfriend at her mom's house, and Wednesday I pretty much
Out of town,
played.
not like down the street.
Yeah, out of town. Yeah. So Wednesday, Thursday, I actually just took Thursday off. I was like, let me just relax until League.
Self-care.
So that's yes, self-care. So that's what I did. I just laid in bed and played video games, and then I got myself some pho and went to League, where I got absolutely destroyed. That's okay. I played Dragapult Dusknoir. I was like, wow, this deck's so good. Let me play it. And I played against Typhlosion round 1. It didn't stand a chance. And then the next 3 games, basically didn't play. So I went 1-3 drop, but because I dropped
One Piece.
yeah, I played a bunch of One Piece, which was fun. But
yeah.
yeah.
It was kind of a rough day for the squad. I know it was like I was paired against Phil at like 1-1, and you're paired against Chris at 1-1.
Oh yeah,
and it was
I got destroyed.
we're like all in the gulag. So, but we some of us clawed it out, and some of us played One Piece, and that's okay. So, Eric, what about you?
Yeah, I didn't play any locals last week. We're really busy moving and packing and getting ready for the big move. Max was over on Saturday helping me move, so I put him through the ringer, made sure he got some good exercise in. He's trying to focus on his health and wellness, so I just want to support him in those goals. So
You
yeah,
get
well,
some free labor out of it.
yeah.
Actually, fun fact: after we were moving all day on the way home, I hit the Y before they closed and did 30 minutes on the stair climber.
I'm really proud of
So-
you. I'm really proud of you. But yeah, so just been focused on that. Focus on the baby, and just right now taking care of life. Playing a lot on the ladder. I've really been enjoying Joltic Box with the eel. It seems very, very good. Like just in the middle of the game, being able to go like Dynamotor, Crispin, and like pull out any 3 energy attacker out of nowhere is like really good. So it's harder to set up. Obviously, Joke the Box does draw a bunch of cards, but if you play well, you do get rewarded, and it's just a straightforward, consistent deck. And so we'll talk about all of our deck choices and things in a little bit. But yeah, so first topic of the day is the Play Pokemon Access app that was just released this week in the United States. We got it last week in the UK, but we didn't talk about it because we had a Henry Brand on. Make sure you guys go back and check out that episode if you haven't already. It was a great interview talking about how to prep like Henry. And it was really good episode. Really good interview. But yeah, so the Play Pokemon Access app. What is the Play Pokemon Access app? This is the first time that Play Pokemon has made a app for the player base. And they are going to be using this app primarily in the beginning so you can check in at locals, right? So every time you go to locals, your locals will start to ask you about this app and try to get you to scan your code. So make sure you go to your iOS, you go to Google, you go to your Play Store, wherever it is you find your apps, and search for Play Pokemon Access. And you'll want to download that and sign in with your Pokemon.com credentials. And on the top right hand corner, you will see a little QR code once you're logged in, and that's what you will use at your locals. It's very big because there's actually, sadly, there's a number of stores that are reporting that people are playing at their store when they aren't actually getting players in their store. But yeah, I'm excited to see the things that are in the app. They have like badges that you can get for like competing at locals and challenges and cups. You can go find events, but it kind of went backwards a little bit. You can see the full, schedule. You don't have to go to Pokédata anymore to go find out the major schedules that have been announced. So there's definitely some really good bonuses here that they have already gotten. And I'm excited to see what they can do with the future. Is this our key to match reporting online at cups, locals, and majors? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. So those are my thoughts. Boys, what are your thoughts on the app so far?
I haven't used it much. I actually downloaded it right before this recording happened, and it looks pretty nifty. I do kind of think that it will be a bridge into like finally being able to report your matches online. Because pretty much like every other game now is doing that. Like even Yu-Gi-Oh! With like how wonderful of a company Konami is, even they're doing it. So I don't know. I think Pokemon will probably hop on that trend, but one thing that's odd is that I can see how many championship points I have on the app, but on the actual website I can't see it for some reason.
Is it a 0 both places?
Whoa, dang. Yay, whoa. 37.
Dang, bro.
That's actually 3 times as many as Eric for those keeping track of them.
True.
Yeah, no.
Because he's top in that cup. That's right.
Dude.
Yeah, I got 9th place. Rip.
You got 12 points for that?
No, that's for my challenge.
Oof.
That's for my Archer Long challenge.
Archel,
Did you not get top 16 points for that?
No.
Really? Or maybe they didn't.
There's less than
change the
20
kicker.
people that wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, anyways, I've been looking at the app today. I had a couple weeks off of locals, but I still have a 2-week streak at my local. I have 0 badges for some reason. Apparently, everyone else has badges, and I don't have any. And it's cool. It has by feed, but then it does have little things where it like reminds me from like a month ago. It's like, oh, you got 11th place at this locals. I'm like, oh, that's when I played Toad Scroll and had an absolutely awful time. So
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what they can do with it. But for those of you that haven't heard of it, this is your first time, you're like, what the hell is this app? Go find it, download it. You will need it when you go to your locals. So just have it ready, and you no longer need to carry around that paper card in your wallet with your player ID. It's right there on an app.
Yeah.
I know I saw some people asking questions about like, why don't they add it to like Apple Wallet? It's very expensive to do something like that. So if people don't know the technology behind that kind of stuff, it's very expensive.
we can have it, but you have to pay $90 to go to a mage. No.
People were already upset about the freaking $50 for Pokemon Friends or whatever that app.
Wait,
Um,
what? Oh, the puzzle thing?
Yeah, I've actually,
yeah,
like-
you could get the
I've been
Pass
enjoying
or
the heck out
whatever.
of that app, dude. Like I've played it every day since this came out.
So I played it when it came out, and I actually remembered it today when I was downloading the other Pokemon app. So I played it, and I was like, "This is pretty fun." The max package to get like everything is only like $32, which
Yeah,
like
but like you get 3 free new ones every day. So like it's just like your
Mhm.
Pokemon like your pocket stuff that people do every
Yeah,
day,
mhm.
right? Like just log in for like 5 minutes, play your stuff, and move on.
yeah. But also, it's really just like the mobile landscape has changed for games, right? Like back in the day, I remember like Doodle Jump. It was like, oh, you had to buy this game. It was so great. It cost $2. And it's like, oh, okay, well, it's worth it because it's worth the $2.
Right. Or
I mean, there's so many
Candy
games now
Crush,
that
you buy like the pack for like $4
yeah,
because you
I
just
mean,
want to beat the stupid level.
right. I mean, when it's microtransaction-y, like that's trickier. But like the games that are like, hey, we'll give you the full version or like remove ads for like this flat fee is like fine. We just feel like $30 on like I mean like $30 on mobile feels weirder compared
It
to like
does.
buying a $30 game on Switch, which is just,
Yeah.
part of the mobile culture. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
only want free mobile games when they're all microtransaction ridden, and you're like, oh wait, no, maybe I don't want this.
I hate microtransactions, so I'm okay with the way they did it. There's
No.
no ads in the game. I'm not getting pressured to buy it every day. So like it's nice. It's fun. Anyways, moving on. Let's get on to the next segment about mastering your locals. Now that you know how to like sign into locals, let's talk about mastering your locals. At the Beach Square Podcast, we kind of consider locals to be our fun events. Parker, walk us through it.
All right. So yeah, as Eric said, locals are kind of like a fun part to me. I've like been pretty busy the past like 2 years, year and a half maybe. So locals are kind of like mostly where I practice. Um so for weekly locals, I try to just play what I'm rocking with. Like unfortunately I am a bit of like a meta slave usually, and the price payouts have been pretty good for store credit at cool stuff. So I've been playing like, better decks and stuff like that. But locals just for fun mostly. I'd play something that works. Like if you want like a chance at winning or topping or whatever your goal is, getting, 50% win rate. You gotta play something that some more works. Meta stuff always like proven, getting a good list. So challenges, they're a bit different. So for challenges,
Well, let's talk about local. Let's talk about locals first, Parker. So
oh yeah.
we'll tackle that. I mean, for me, for locals, it's kind of the same thing. Like I treat locals as a like fun event, where it's like if I have like a deck that I've been like having some fun with on the ladder, or like something that I haven't played before, and I like, oh, now's the time to try it. Then that's kind of what I take that opportunity for. So I kind of agree with Parker though. It's like the last few times, like the store credit has been pretty good. So I'm like, like I could pay like 7 and win like 38 if you do well. So that's like maybe I'll play a little better deck, but I know like after Worlds, I'm excited to like sleeve up my Conkeldurr again. It's like deck I like to bring to locals. Just something like fun, a little like off meta, something to try. And I treat it as like a way to like legitimize. It's like, oh hey, this deck does have some legs to it. Like I can show up to. I don't just win games online with it. I can like show up at like a real event and like do all right with it. So that's kind of my stance there. Unless it's like right before a major, I'll probably just play it on playing the major. But for the most part, it's like pick something different, something I don't normally play a lot of, and kind of like test my abilities as a player and like have fun playing something a little bit different than what I normally do. So, Eric, what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I like to play the weird decks at locals. I like to always come with like something like fun and different. Like, you know, I know I've got my eyes on One Trio Mill, and I'm bringing it soon. So, don't worry, I will show up and play One Trio Mill. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like enjoy like having fun at locals. You know, I like doing well with them, obviously. So I won't play like, you know, I won't show up playing like, you know, looking at the for alligator, right? Like I'm not gonna show up playing for alligator or United Wings. You know, I'm over here looking at limitless decks that are at the bottom of the
Those are all decks I've shown up to with locals, by
Yeah,
the
I
way.
was like, yeah, I was like, yeah.
But you know, I will show up, you know, just a couple spots above it with Okie Dokie or Chen Pao, right? Like so there's definitely some fun decks I like to play. But yeah, like Max said, locals for me is um it's crafting those skills of playing a deck you don't know well. So like the most recent example is taking you know, the 17th place in Zorark Dragapult list and playing that because Dragapult's good and Enzorg is good, and Steven Ivanov got you know, 17th place with it. So I want to try it, right? And so those are the type of opportunities I'll take those decks, and like to play them on locals because I don't know, man, just playing over table is infinitely better than playing on ladder. So yeah. Peter Parker, why don't you walk us through how you approach challenges versus majors?
Yeah, so challenges, yeah, I kind of got to think a little bit more with like the majors approach, like how do challenges differ from locals? It's they're brutal. They're brutal. For to win a challenge, like you pretty much have to like not lose a game. So you got to be on it. Your opponents, you know, you can't Iono them the one of the boss kind of thing. But playing something as consistent as possible, or maybe like a slightly more consistent version of like a powerful deck. So, like, just as an example, like I cut Shaman for Arvin when I played Gardevoir at the challenge. I was like, you know, I value opening another out to playing the game more than you know
Protecting against a
my
couple matchups, yeah.
yeah, like my Monkey Door getting Scream Tailed or you know the 30 damage from Grimmsnarl. So, but yeah, it's something I kind of go with. Like I play Gardevoir, but I think decks like Goldengo and Joltik Box like really kind of fit this category right now.
Yeah.
Just because they're consistent, they pretty much do the thing every game. Especially the Genesect now, all I have to do is just go boom, nest ball. I got two guys now,
Oh,
and
look, there's a pink card in my hand. Boss's
yeah,
orders.
yeah, literally, it's just like, oh, well, yeah. So that it sets you up to give yourself a good chance. Like obviously, anything meta can do well at a challenge. Sometimes it's just your day too. But how do you guys approach your challenges when you're suiting up?
Yeah, challenges are just, I mean, definitely brutal, right? The fact that you like can't lose a game for the most part, it just kind of, I mean, at least for me, it changed my mindset a little bit, right? A lot of times when I'm playing the casual locals, again, I'm bringing just a fun deck. I'm bringing something to kind of show up with. If I lose a game, because I'm playing a not as good deck or had a hit a tricky matchup, like that's fine. When it comes to challenges, I am going a little bit more of that approach of, hey, no, I'm taking each game a little more seriously. Maybe I'm actually prize checking or taking a notebook to prize
Yeah.
check things. Just taking that little extra step of seriousness. I totally think like consistency like is a pretty important part. I'm normally playing like a meta deck to a challenge. I want to have a good chance to win it. Assuming my goal is to win it. And then, what's funny about challenges, like you're not always gonna hit like like the best players at your tournament. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
again, you'll like just because it's such a brutal format where it's like one person loses one game, then you're never gonna hit them if you're trying to win the whole thing type of thing. Maybe you'll hit them the final round if you say you're an XO that gets down paired to a 4-1 or something. So a lot of times, I try to pick a deck that I'm very comfortable with, and one that I have. Sometimes I try to pick ones I have a little more agency with, or that has like a couple different ways to like win the game. If I'm playing a deck that like only trades like 2 prizers and I like miss an attack, then I don't really have a great way back. I try to avoid those. I'm thinking back like probably most recent challenge I won. I played Dragapult. Just I was able to be able to say, okay, I have enough alternate ways to kind of claw the game back, and even if I'm down a lot, I have a way to come back by playing well and by capitalizing on my opponent maybe making some mistakes or being able to just utilize all the tools available to pull off a comeback. So I do consider that a little bit with decks. But also like a Goldango or a Joltik box by someone who knows it very well is just very consistent and will show up well. So I like the decks with a little more agency, but Eric, what do you like?
I'm a straight just like go fast, go fast, go fast. Like at challenges, man, it's all about just being consistent and strong and like saying, "Do you have an answer?" That's my like competitive brain. But um, the other part of my competitive brain is I really use challenges to sharpen competitive skills. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is it's not the prize checking per se, because like yes, that's a skill you have to sharpen, but I don't think you should be sharpening that in a match setting. That should be like at home. But it's finding those small lines that can turn a loss into a tie. Can turn a tie into a win because I played faster, or just punishing an opponent's play, right? Predicting an opponent's play, right? Those little small pieces that we kind of went over with last week with Henry, really just I like to perfect those in those types of games. How many resources do I have left? Making sure I'm always like thinking. Um, those are the things that are important to me. Um, but all seriousness aside, challenges are really, really brutal, and because they are so freaking brutal, the number one thing I go to challenges with is how can I get the most likes on Twitter if I win this? so like that was like the number one thing I think when I go to a challenge these days, because dude, like the last 2 years, I mean, it's so hard to finish your challenges, man. I don't have the data anymore. Actually, it might be on there. I'm actually curious. How many challenges did I play in last year? Because I bet you it's a lot. Like I played in a lot of challenges last season. Um, I'll tell the listeners that in a minute. So Parker, why don't you tell us about how
Yeah.
cups are so different?
Yeah, so cups, they're where you have to play out top cut. People attending cups usually are playing the best decks that they feel comfortable with. Um, it is brutal, but typically with cups, you're allowed to lose one. Um, Typically people with the record of like either X1 or X11 are gonna be making top cuts. So you can afford to lose one, but that doesn't change my stance on it to where you just want to play something consistent. You'll still want to be playing those higher supporter counts, that kind of thing. But uh, one thing that there is a skill with cups, and this I guess applies to locals, but not usually challenges, is knowing when you're safe to ID. I know we mentioned this probably about a year ago, maybe even longer.
Maybe
But
longer, yeah.
yeah. But generally a good way to see is just like counting down towards like table 4 or 5 ish, seeing what the most likely outcomes are of the games. So like most of the time people are just going to be drawing into cut, but sometimes you hit like a weird matchup. You say, hey, I don't want to play a best of 3 against this, let me try and see if I can knock them out of top cut. Or sometimes you want to play for seeding. Like if you're, I want to be first seed. I want to hit, the X2 that's gonna make it, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, typically like you'll want to try to predict the meta as best as you can, like even more so than like your challenges. Typically, the players at cups and stuff are gonna be kind of not necessarily better, but they're gonna be trying harder and stuff like that. There's more on the line, like with points or whatever it may be. But yeah. For decks, like I really like Dragapult Zard for cups, because I just think like it really doesn't have like a bad matchup, and for whatever reason, when I've played it, it's just been more. It's been the most consistent Dragapult variant for me for whatever reason. I don't know why, but like I said earlier, Goldango and Joltik Box, like good. I think Raging Bolt also a really good cup deck. Just pretty consistent, strong. You can actually like there's more depth to it now to where you don't just attack with your big guy over and over. There's like a fair bit of depth to it
Oh,
now.
you mean
But
attached to the baby raging bulb?
yeah, but I mean like there's like you take the first prize of fan road.
Yeah.
And then it's not just like
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I saw that and then I all this stuff. But yeah. So what do you guys do differently in your cup prep, if anything?
Yeah, I think cups are actually like a really like fun and like good format to play in. Again, it's like a smaller, serious tournament, right? I love, hey, there's a mat that you go and get for winning, so it's like something you can show up to with locals and using the mat, and you get a chance to like show like, oh yeah, I won the local cup in town type of thing, and get that to kind of flex on everyone. So I think when it comes to cups, the neat thing about cups is again there is that like margin for I'm not gonna say margin for error, but margin for variance. And
Experience.
again,
Yeah.
a lot of times, again, if it's a top 4 or top 8 cut, you can generally afford to lose a game. And sometimes you lose a game if you made a mistake, or other times you lose a game because you fell behind your opponent or didn't have a way to catch up, or maybe you paired into one of the other best players in the room, and then you lost just a close game type thing. There's nothing wrong with that. So at the cups, I think it's nice because you do have that aspect where he says, "Hey, okay, I lost the game. Had a bad matchup, hit a good player. Didn't draw well or didn't made a mistake there." You have that little bit of window for a mistake or for a misstep, and then but then over the course of the events, says, "Okay, I won all my other games except for this one, and now I'm in top cut of the cup." And now when you're in top cut, now is when you like are really, putting on your best skill as a player. Most of these formats are best of 3, so you'll have a chance to really kind of show your skill there. And again, variance very much goes out the window. When you have a chance of 3 games to be able to go and say, okay, if I brick in one, I should win the other 2 type of thing to close out the set. So I do think the other part for local cup that, other people listening to this may want to consider is that you can somewhat tech for your local meta. Again, because you're going to go and hit all the other best players in the room, you should be aware of that. I'm not saying you should like change your whole deck or play something you're uncomfortable with because of it. But if you are playing a deck, say again, if you're playing against a Grimmsnarl, right? Maybe the best player in your town plays a lot of Grimmsnarl. If your deck has, a 50-50 or maybe is a little bit of an unfavored matchup in a Grimmsnarl, but hey, the best player in town plays Grimmsnarl, and if you go to the cup, you'll probably hit them in top 8 somewhere. Then consider that, right? Go add in that picnic basket, add in that like tech card to help you out in the matchup a little bit. That's something you can consider when like what the best players in the room are going to play. But overall, I think what matters most is playing a deck that you are comfortable with. Again, cups are, cups, you actually have that window for, hey, I lost a game due to XYZ reason. You have that margin of error. Playing a deck that you know and that you can say, hey, I can pile this enough to make it a top 8. And then once I'm in top 8 and top cut of the cup, I have enough skill and familiarity with this deck and know my matchups well enough that I can just win. I think comfort over everything for a cup deck. But then also consider that, hey, you can adapt to your local meta if you need to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, cups are mini regionals. Again, I've kind of been working my way up, practicing my skills. Right, when I'm at locals, I'm having fun, but I'm practicing like, playing different decks and those skills. And when I'm at challenges, I'm practicing like the smaller, minute skills. And at cups, my main focus at cups is making sure that I don't deteriorate. And what that means is stamina at cups is like probably one of the biggest things you underrate when you go to a cup, right? You should always expect in these day and age 4 to 5 rounds of Swiss and then 3 rounds of a grueling top 3 cut, right? And like that kind of simulates about a half a day of a major, like a regional. And if you can't keep your mind in it for like that period of time at a cup, then you probably can't do it at a major either. So you shouldn't expect to, if you can't do well at a cup, say you go to like 20 cups, whatever. If you can't do well at a couple of cups, then you probably won't do well at a major because it does translate. Like cups are very much a mini regional. And the mindset, the mental game of a cup or any tournament that you play in is like by far the biggest thing that people don't talk about enough. You know, like you said, Max, you can afford a loss, right, in a cup, but like how does that loss affect you, right? Does that loss, you can say, okay, well, I misplayed here. Oh, crap, I can't do that. I hate myself, whatever. Or you're saying, hey, oh, why did I make that mistake? Oh, because I wasn't thinking about the options my opponent could do at the time, right? So, like, take those things, like, use them as learning lessons. And as far as like how I adapt my deck list, I do actually tech for the meta if I know the meta, right? For the Cool Stuff Cup, I changed the card literally like the day of because I was like, there's going to be a lot of Grimmsnarl and there's not going to be a lot of Joltik Box. So I took a card out that made my Joltik Box match worse, but made my Grimmsnarl matchup better. I lost to Grim on my winning in, and I beat the Joltik round 1. That's just how it goes, right?
Yeah.
You could tech for stuff, but things happen. Even if you tech for it, you gotta understand that you're gonna lose some, and it's gonna hurt. But for those of you that were painstakingly like waiting this whole time for my challenges data for last season, 19 challenges, 11 top 4s, and only 4 wins.
Dang, only 19.
17 cups, 8 top 8s, and 4 wins.
That's actually a lot less than I thought it was because
That
I think
actually,
my
yeah.
count. Yeah, I'm at 17, I think, as well, or
I'm
17,
curious too.
16.
Well, my last challenge
Yeah,
win was
17 or
in
18, yeah.
March, so I just stopped after that.
Well, I mean, I was in good shape for my invite. I did get my last challenge win in May, but I didn't really play. I think that was just a locals that I went to that happened to be a challenge that day.
Yeah,
So
so and I got one in September, one in
But-
November, one in February, one in March. But early in the season, the amount I played early in the season, like literally, so the other outside of the 4 wins, everything else was before January 1st.
wow.
So I played a majority of those like in the first half of the season. But dude, they're just so brutal, man. Cause like even last week, I hit a favored matchup in finals and I just drew dead out of my freaking mind and lost because of it. And it's like, it's just so annoying. But you know what
Should have
happens?
played the extra Arvin and cut the Shaman.
Yeah.
Sir, I
Eric.
played 4 Harvins, 4 research, and I couldn't have made it any more consistent.
I played.
Anyways, yeah, so that's kind of how we are going to approach our locals, and take all that for what you want it to be. And again, I will challenge every one of you listening to this podcast. If you want to do well at Pokemon, it starts right here in your brain. You have to say that you want to do well, and you have to practice your mental that you want to do well, right? If you're losing because you're unlucky, I can tell you it's not because you're unlucky. It's because of your mindset. So get your mental right and be focused, and you can be the best person you want to be.
Well said.
One small note before we move on. Locals are going to be changing in September. No longer will, at the end of round, will it be +3 turns, just as a reminder. It will be +1 turn.
Plus
So once
one.
time is called, if it's your turn and you're active, your game is over. Whatever you do that turn, that's it. That's all you got. So make sure you practice that pace of play and be ready for that change coming in September.
Especially for those challenges, right? We don't want to make a mistake where we turn a win into a tie because we're playing fast enough. So
Yep.
best of luck to everyone adapting and getting into the new changes.
Yeah, let's move on to the next segment, which is our trivia segment. This is always my co-host's favorite segment of the podcast. They love when I put them through this, but they also love sleeving up their favorite deck in FCBC sleeves. My favorite color is blood red. I don't get anything else besides blood red because I just love it that much. So if you want to pick up your box of FCBC sleeves, remember that right now there's a 15% off code, BC Worlds, at FCBCarmor.com, and you can get sleeves for yourself. Boys, it's our 2-year anniversary this episode. We have been doing this podcast for 2 years.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
The question is simple. What episode number is this?
It's not that.
Let me pull up Spotify real quick and check.
No,
actually,
no.
it says season 2 and stuff. Yeah. I mean,
Great.
so if we need our standard +or -2.
I'll give you +or
Is it-
-1.
What? Come on. Or you think we're supposed to just know this on top of our head?
I'll give you plus or
So we
minus
were.
one.
So when did we start doing weekly episodes? That was.
Was it? Well, I mean, was it
February?
earlier in the season?
It was this season that we started. I don't know the date, but it was this season.
I think it was before. I think it was in November or December.
Think so?
Well, because I remember like it was kind of coming up around like the holiday time somewhat. Because then like Eric had the one episode with Cal Connor going over Reggie Drago, and I was like part of one of it. And then Eric also had like an episode like Jesper. Also, if anyone wants to watch these, they're all on the YouTube somewhere. I don't know what episode number it is because that's the trivia question. But so I think it was that like October, November, December time frame. But if we go before that and we say, okay, we had a year of every other with the occasional missed episode. So it'd be like 25 episodes. But actually, we did have a couple extras because we did like Andrew Hedrick interview. That was a separate standalone. And we had like, we also had Brandon. It was standalone. So maybe we're at like 28, 29 episodes for the first season of the podcast. And then since then you add what, 4 more months or 3 more months of every other week. So that'd be 6. And then you add every week after that. So then you add another like 20, 30 plus a couple missed episodes.
If you're following at home, how many has Max said so far?
Yeah,
I think I'm at like 36 for season 2, and then actually it's gotta be more than 36. I'm at like 36 for season 2 and 28 for season 1. I'm just kind of making up stuff and talking. Parker, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, so I lost my concentration for 1 second, and then you lost me. So
If you also lost what I'm talking about, let me know in the comment. No, if you're in the comments, tell us what episode number this is because I don't know. My logic is basically like we did a little bit more than every other week the first year, so that'd be a little over 26. And then this is one we've done like mostly every episode, every week. So I'm like, we did like 38 out of 52 weeks. So it's kind of like a ballpark.
The first year and a half was every
I think
other
less
week.
than a year and a half. I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but
yeah, true.
Let me know where you're getting.
So
I think we had like 1.25 years of every other week, but we had more than every other week a couple times. We also missed some episodes.
This is great. I love this.
Yeah. Let's just say.
So just based purely on vibes, Parker. I'm at 28 plus 39. So we'll put that at 28 plus 39. Quick math.
67.
67. So just purely on vibes. Around, like, are you thinking higher or lower than that number?
I know there were a couple double weeks back then.
I think like 28 for the first season.
Yeah,
we had like a couple extra double weeks. Plus, we probably missed an episode or two somewhere.
Right, I think right around like 70-ish is what I would have to guess.
Okay,
I would say.
So when you go hit like a 68 or 69, we'll do 68 because we're a family friendly podcast.
Are you guys locking in the answer?
Or you want more? Actually, it could be more. 52. I'll go. Actually, I'm fine with 70. We'll lock in like 70.
70?
70,
Okay,
yeah.
70.
You guys locking in 70?
Let's go 70.
Okay, 70. It is not 70. However, you did get 28 right. There is 28 episodes in the first season.
Dang.
So good job on that. But this is episode 47 of season 2.
47.
So for those of you keeping track, 47 plus 28 is 75. This is episode number 75.
Dang.
Well, all the episodes that I weren't on don't really count, so I think that like evens
Yeah,
out.
basically, yeah.
No,
So
go watch
that
the
evens
episodes that I'm not
out
on too,
to,
everyone.
Right. Anyways, hey, I mean, pretty good for you for
Pretty
getting
close, pretty
28.
close.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's solid.
I
I
underestimated just how many episodes we've done of back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
Since like mid-November.
It was mid-November when it started. Yeah. So been doing it for a while. I hope you guys are enjoying the weekly episodes. But let's move on to our next topic, and we're going to be talking about black and white meta, black bolt and white flare. I'm going to run through some just thought-provoking questions just to keep our minds spinning as we lead into our Worlds episode next week. We'll talk everything about Black Bolt, White Flare, make our Worlds predictions. But first up on the agenda today, Maddox and Parker, when your opponent flips over a Dreepy, what version of Dragapult are you thinking that player is playing, and what cards are you watching out for?
Right now, I'm saying Dusknoir or Straight Pulse. So
But just
until
which one?
oh, I have to pick one.
Pick one,
Yeah.
Brown.
All right, I'm saying Dusknoir then.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at too. Now, like the hot deck that is like a little more fun and like has a few more things that I think is a little interesting one, I think for me is like Dragapult Charizard. Where I think like some that's picking up a little bit of play, but I think right now it's like I mean Parker, is Dragapult Dusknoir like in a conceptual vacuum just the answer to the entire format?
Yeah, I mean, I think you get pooped on by like Guardy Jellicent, but people
Not a
will
real deck.
keep saying that's a horrible, awful, terrible deck that you should never play ever.
Jellicent, bro, the jelly. I mean, yeah, you guys are like, I mean, like looking at the meta on Limitless TCG, according to them, obviously there's been 109 tournaments for those of you that don't know the answer to that. And it's close, man. It's 5.96% Dragapult Dusknoir, 5.53% right straight Pult, and then 5% even Dragapult Zard. And those three are like in a row in the meta. So like it's really close. And like what version is your opponent going to be playing? You know what's crazy as we're on topic of like Dusknoir is like we don't have the Psyduck for Worlds, right? That's why people are really playing this. But did you guys see the Cardi Dusknoir deck with Klefki's like kind of poking around Japan right now?
No.
So the Klefki to turn off the Psyduck so that you could then Dusknoir.
Now we're talking.
So you Dusknoir the Psyduck, and then you can Dusknoir whatever you need for the rest of the game.
Now, again,
funny.
anyone who's panicking because Klefki stops Psyduck, remember the Golduck has the same ability as Psyduck. So if your Psyduck is getting countered by Klefki, you can just evolve into Golduck, and now you have the ability back on. But I have to play 2 cards to shut off Dusknoir.
And have to find it.
But instead, the deck just goes counter catcher your Golduck, put Fluttering in the active to shut off the ability, then Dusknoir KO the Golduck.
So what are the
There's still
ace
some
specs
trick
looking
things.
like? What do you think in ace spec wise, like or specific cards in each Dragapult list? Like, what are you thinking when you see Dragapult?
Yeah,
What cards you worried about?
I mean, for me, like when I see Dragapult again, I'd be curious to go back to Maddox from way back in G block or start of H block and say like, well, if I see Dragapult, it's pretty much always playing Neo Upper Energy, which I never really thought would be a card that sees as much play as it does now. But I mean, the straight Dragapults have always been playing the Neo Upper. And even the Dusknoirs have switched to it too, kind of going back to like the straight Dragapult engine of just like research Iono, Brock Scoutings, all that stuff. Some Hildas now.
Hilda's
Um,
so good.
Hilda definitely making Neo Upper a little bit more impactful. So I think I'm expecting Neo Upper, but the second I see a Charizard going down, I'm like, oh, they got Unfair Stamp. So just because, and the fact that like, and not a lot of decks are playing Unfair Stamp right now, but being able to have a deck that has as many options as Dragapult Charizard and getting Stamp, like pretty cool right now. So
Can we
Parker,
talk
what
about
other tech
this?
cards you thinking?
Oh, go ahead, Parker.
Oh yeah, I was thinking like the exact same thing. You know what for I'm like slightly surprised that we've never really seen like a secret box Dragapult, but like I guess every card is like too valuable to like just kind of get rid of. I mean like I don't know. But yeah, if I see a Charmander, I'm expecting Stamp. If I see no Charmanders, I'm pretty much expecting Neo Upper.
Yeah, other cards, I mean, like Jamming Tower, I'm kind of expecting across the board in all the lists, honestly.
Jamming Tower's gonna be really good right now.
Unless it's someone at your locals who like really hates Raging Bull, wants to play a League headquarters or something. But pretty much Jamming Tower and all of them, even in the Charizard deck. Also, a lot of the Dragapult Charizard decks are pretty much all playing Chi right now. Really helps an extra Nigoldango and the Raging Bolt, so just gives them another flexible attacker there. They're pretty much all playing this like Monkey Luminous package. There's like some Dusknoir versions that don't play the Monkey, but I'm kind of expecting all of them that are playing it now since they've like swapped this research and like no Dusknors are really playing like Arvins or not even Candies. I mean, like, have you seen a Dragon Ball Dusknor deck playing Candies
No,
lately?
no.
Well, I net decked the list and I played no Candy and no Evo, and I was like, wait, this is horrible. I don't-
No, just straight pull, just do a bunch and start popping Dusknors.
That's interesting. We'll see. You know, I do think out of those three that straight pult will see the most success at Worlds, just because it's the most consistent. But yeah, so let's move on to the next one. Actually, I wanted to pivot while we were there. Do we think the Secret Box is the best A-Spec card now? Has it passed Prime Catcher at this point?
I think so.
I mean, I think we do have to consider the format a little bit, right? You know, I think there's a world to say that when Pokestop was in the game and an engine for so many decks, like Prime Catcher was so good. Because now it's like, oh look, my stadium has turned into Guzman. So like, I mean, because that's where we saw a lot of the play, right? You see it in
Sure.
Lost Box, and you see it
Sure.
in like Raging Bolt, but also like other like, I mean, Charizard Explained, just like having this like extra gust effect was like very powerful. But I mean, now I think with the format a little bit slower, with like there's being so much Arvin around, there being some like pretty impactful stadiums to like get you set up under Badoo and things like that. I mean, like seeing Secret Box from Guardy is like, you know, really good. Just like puts that deck together so much you can just play a higher Arvin count and get access to your Evo plus your
Discarding
your
energy
one
at the
buddy
same
Poffin plus
time.
your Artisan and a supporter for next turn, like really good. Like Secret Box is like the only thing holding Grimmsnarl together, in my opinion,
Probably.
because there's no engine besides just like Spikemuth.
It's close
Is it the-
though.
I mean, is it the like? Does it see the most play right now? Like, kind of, yes. But is it just the way? Is it like, is that what's gluing decks together? We're like in a format where we had like Forest Sealstone and Arvin, like maybe you needed Secret Box less because you had like
Yeah,
better consistency to
definitely.
find things.
Yeah.
And then you could play like Unfair Stamp or Prime Catcher because there was a little more power, and now you're like playing a consistency A-Spec type of thing.
We should just play 4 stadiums in Grim and play Survival Brace.
If only your main attacker didn't take damage from your
Damn,
Frost
sure,
Blast
your
true.
Frost
and break
Blast.
the Survival Brace. Or also, assume you have a clean gold. Assume you have a clean one for some reason, and I go hit it down to 10 HP, and then your own Frost Eyes kills it.
Oh, that's so funny. That's
Plus,
so
your deck
funny.
spreads damage and puts Monkey Dory in play. So,
Anyways, that's pretty fun.
honestly, Survival Braces might literally be a blank card
In this format, yeah.
Grimmsnarl.
Well, I think in this format,
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe.
Monkey Dory is too good. All right, let's move on to the next question. When your opponent flips over a Dwebble, what thoughts immediately come to your mind?
So, I mean, the first thing I normally think of is like, okay, what YouTube video I'm going to watch for the next 25 minutes while I'm waiting for all the other rounds to end because I don't have an out in my deck. Parker, what do you? No, I mean, seriously. Parker, I mean, have you played against this deck much at locals? I don't really have too many rocks against Crustle.
I am 1-0 against Crustle, but I was playing
Yeah.
Gardevoir. So that just has attackers that hit through the safeguard. And they're never gonna out Monkey Dory you because you just put out more Monkey Dories than them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know other cards. I mean, they're all running like a luxurious cape. I mean, again, the Ascension Dwell will just jump right into their attackers very good, like a high Crispin count. I've seen some before they're playing like Iron Thorns. I'm not really sure if that's floating around much anymore.
No,
I do know like Cornerstone has kind of come
Cornerstone.
back
Cornerstone's in it.
just as like more ways to deal with it. But like all the decks you beat with Cornerstone, I mean, I don't know the matchups well enough to know what decks you're playing need Cornerstone for that you don't need
I think
Crustle
it's
for.
Charizard because the Charmeleon can KO the Crustle and stuff.
But the short man they're playing doesn't have an ability anyways.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
So maybe just to make it even easier.
Yeah, I mean, just for those of you that don't know, I mean, because Max, you're not aware of it much because you don't play much against it. The list kind of looks like 4 Arvin, 4 Crispin, 4 Boss, like 4 Iono. That's kind of like close to standard. Then they play some healing cards. The Pokevital A is getting some love.
No way.
In their deck.
Yep.
And they're playing 2 Luxurious Cape, and they also are playing 3 Mist Energy. So if you think that you're safe with Mew EX, you're not.
Well, that's but Mew
Well,
EX does
Mew
hit
EX
it.
still hits
Oh
through
yeah,
it.
talking about
Mew, yeah. Oh,
Phantom
it's for
Dive.
Dragapult. It's
It's
for
for
Phantom Dive.
Dragapult.
Okay.
It stops the Phantom Dive to the
Or
bench.
it stops Monkey
Gouging
Dory
Fren-
confusing it too.
and Frenzied Gouging.
And
if
Frenzy
Roaring Moon
Gouging,
is Soul
yes.
And I also play one copy of Reversal Energy, which is kind of funny. That works, yeah. All right, moving on.
I think solid. I mean, solid deck. It really just kind of comes down to, again, just getting aggressive because again, your opponent does need to find that energy to ascension out the dwebble and to be able to chain the energy. So if you have that like one flexible attacker, I think it's really just trying to get that set up as quickly as possible and go aggressive. Anyone who's playing Typhlosion, congrats. You're probably in good shape.
yeah,
I think it's have to go very badly playing Typhlosion to not beat Crustle.
true.
Well, no, I mean, like, you can go and attack with your Dusknoir when you're
Wait,
playing.
Max, remember the
Dusknoir.
tournament I was playing in where we were playing Dango Typhlosion? I prized all my Typhlosions against.
Yeah, that's questionable for sure.
I was like, bro, no.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've seen some cool screenshots on Twitter of like people having their Dusknoirs loaded up and attacking the Dwebble
Neo
or
Upper and
with Crustle using Neo Upper. So you have some tools, right? So I think it's just one that if you haven't played against the Crustle deck like I have, just look at your list and kind of think, okay, what do I have to attack with? Maybe ask a
Yeah,
friend.
and if you're going to a major or something, like just get 2 reps against it. I mean, that's all it takes. It doesn't take a lot. But maybe we'll see Crustle Crushing Hammer at Worlds. Repeat.
I mean, a rogue counter deck did win last year's Worlds.
Just
Iron
saying.
Thorns.
I'm just saying, who knows? All right, moving on to the next one, and this is our favorite psychic Pokemon, Gardevoir. When your opponent flips over a Ralts, what version of Guardy do you think they're playing? You got the Jelly Devo, Charm Drifloon. There's some Flutter Mane lists starting to pop up. What are you thinking when your opponent flips over Ralts? Drifloon or no Drifloon? Start there.
I think general right now. Well, so for a while, Jelly Devo was kind of the way, and I think everyone learned that like that's not good, and then a lot of players stopped playing it. So now we're kind of back to like the Charm Drifloon builds. But also there's like a lot of the Jamming Tower running around. So like Drifloon's like kind of a liability. So like, but you don't have a great way to beat Goldango without it. So like Guardy's kind of in a weird spot. I do think like the most popular version right now is this like Charm Drifloon piece. But I wouldn't be surprised to like see some of the top players show up without Drifloon and like try to go like more heavier like Devo Flutter Mane like weird lines against decks. Parker, I mean, I know you've been around the locals. I mean, you've seen a lot of jellies there. You've seen other charms. What are those matchups looking like for you?
So I've mostly been seeing the charm versions. I've been seeing some versions online of like people playing like Scream Tails and no charms, but plus Flutter Mane and Klefki, or like stuff like that. Um, I played against one Jellicent deck and like it absolutely destroyed me. He just put Clefairy on the bench and got 4 energy on his Jellicent and one-shotted my Dragapult.
And
It's
you
like,
now item and tool.
this sucks.
I mean, I could see like Jellicent being a card is a good card, and I could see like a small group of players coming to Worlds and like making a Jellicent deck, right? And like and it'd be like Jellicent Monkey Dory and no Guardies or something crazy like Jellicent Zoroark, like Jellicent Crushing Hammer, right? Jellicent, play the Genesect with some tools. That way you can shut off the A-Specs too, right? There's some cool things that it's a control. It's kind of a control-less card, right? So I think there's some cool things here, but I agree with everyone's takes, and I think the Charm Drifloon is what you will expect as of now, and we'll see what the Brixty looks like at the end of the tournament, and we'll find out how to play Gardevoir. Or Henry Chow, one of the two. All right, so moving on. Last question for these types of questions here. Do you expect Goldango to play Scizor in this format if your opponent flips over a Gimmighoul? Are you expecting a Scizor in their list?
Me personally, I think there's about a 95% chance they run Scizor.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, they're pretty much all in on the Scizor now. Again, when you're playing Genesect EX, it makes it so much easier to find those other like tech attackers. Caesar is just a great single prize attacker, gives you some comeback lines, just like a solid Pokemon overall. And lately, just like with Goldango, I've been kind of like playing with the idea of like it's just good to have more good starters. Like Scyther's like a good starter.
Yeah.
It's free retreat. Fine. Just good mobility. You can find off Buddy Poffin, and then you can get your Caesar into play. You can just like leave a metal energy on it, and then you have it ready to go at any time. So I'm kind of expecting like almost like most of the Goldangos play. I know there's a few that are like leaning off of it and like playing, really just leaning into the other consistency, but I know there's a lot of people that have been spending a lot of time with Caesar, and it might be its time, honestly.
Yeah, I saw one of our friends, Austin Lee. He's been playing Goldango literally for like the past year and a half. And now he's like destroying cups because he's got the most reps with Goldango out of probably anyone I know.
Maybe
So
besides Yell.
yeah,
So
besides Yell, yeah. Okay, a couple last questions. We can run through these quicks. What's the most underrated deck right now?
It's hard
And
to say. I
Yeah.
don't know. For me, I still just think Grimmsnarl like I know it's not
Yeah,
too many people's tops, but like I think that you have like a really good way to navigate the Goldango matchup if you play Badoo, and then like I don't know, it's just like Arvin for Secret Box for Candy, Spike Muth, you know, everything you need. Turn 2 is just like phenomenal. Like
why
I
are we
don't
not
know.
playing for a Callbell?
because the deck is already barely consistent enough.
But we need more consistency cards.
I just play. I mean, you'll just research into an Arvin for next turn. Like it's fine.
Anyways,
Yeah,
what about
I
you,
mean-
Max? What do you think's most
Yeah, I
underrated
mean,
deck?
I know we're gonna talk about the big five in a second, but like Grimmsnarl is like of the top decks, the one that's definitely being like talked about the least and maybe respected the least. I'm not sure if that's just due to like people not believing in it because it doesn't have a strong engine. Or again, it's very dependent on that like Secret Box early setup consistency. I think it's a very good deck still. I mean, a little decks like outside, like looking in. Again, and there's some decks that have been good and have been good mainstays for a little while that just like aren't really being talked about too much right now. Eric mentioned earlier, but like Joltik Box again, just like that aggression is good, especially with so many like slower setup decks. You do have some like trickier times in the matchups, but like Joltik Box, in theory is only better. It's
Yeah.
gotten better tools to work with, and so I think it's maybe a little bit underexplored. Also, even decks like Flareon Box, like EV Box, again, this was a deck that kind of had answers to a lot of different things, had a pretty low play rate. I'm not exactly sure if it's like pushed it out. I'm not sure if like, Grimmsnarl's too tricky, but I know you play the Leafeon, or like is Flareon Box just too much of a pile to like actually work together. But I know right now, no one's talking about like Watchtower like they were at NAIC, like and Flareon, it does have some very good tools that can be built out in different ways to beat the top decks. So I think kind of an interesting deck that is one that, if I had a little more time before Worlds, I'd probably be spending a little more time exploring those. But maybe anyone listening at home has some time for that or can start, tearing up their locals with a deck that they've been enjoying for a while.
Yeah, for me, it's Flareon Noctail. That was gonna be the one I was going to say. Is that you just take a really, really good Goldango matchup, and then you can just figure out your way through everything else. So it's consistent. One nest ball equals a Phantom, which equals the guys that you need. So I like that a lot. I think it's a really strong deck. Right now it's kind of holding 50% win rate, which is up there with the best decks on Limitless. And if you could take a deck and have 50-50 against the field, I'll take that. So, yeah, last question before we close out. There's been like these, it's kind of been a thing that's happened recently with top players saying like, oh, the big five. Oh, there's these big five, right? So what are the big five in your eyes? Well, if you don't know what I mean,
Yeah.
top five decks. What are the big five?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, that top category is still Gardevoir has not gone anywhere. Still one of the best decks. Has more tools and options to run. Right behind that is Dragapult, right? Whichever variant we kind of like talk about. I think Dragapult Dusknoir is kind of that main one right now. The main one people are playing with the most options. I do think Grimm is in that big five. Maybe the top three. I think it's the least talked about or respected, that top three. And right behind that are, everyone's favorite aggro decks that really aren't going anywhere. Goldango, which has popped up, got rid of Dragapult and is just playing Genesect and some straight gas. And then the last one for me is still Raging Bolt. A deck that, again, is, a little harder to play now, isn't really respected as much, but it is just solid as a deck and as an engine. Has a terrible time into Gardevoir, but pretty much good into the rest. So, Parker, do you have any different thoughts, or do you have any other contenders you think could be pushing for that big five?
I really don't think there's another thing that like squeezes sway in there. Like I know that people are like based on like a lot of chatter and like some like tier lists or videos I've seen, like a lot of people are hyping up Zoroark. But like that's kind of like a I'll believe it when I see it sort of thing. It's like I don't know. Like it's gotten good results, but like people are saying like, oh, it's like an A tier deck. I'm like, it doesn't have the results of like these other A tier decks, or even like some of the decks you put in B tier kind of thing. Like I get the potentials there. I think the card's very good. I think it has a lot going for it, but I just don't I wouldn't put it up there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think you guys nailed it. I mean, I think number 6 is like the spot that's like up for debate, right? Like, is
Yeah.
6 Joltik Box? Is it Charizard? Is it Flareon? Is it some good Miraidon list that we don't know? Is it Crustle? Right? Like, there's all these decks that are like right there at that 6th spot. Fighting to try to get into those top 5, and we'll see what happens after Worlds. But closing out the episode, I want you to leave us with one thought, Parker. What's caught your eyes this first couple of weeks of the format? Anything surprise you? What are we still to learn? What kind of thoughts do you have about the first couple weeks of this format?
The thing that kind of has shocked me a little is like how much people are downplaying the Jellicent. Like
Yeah.
I get it. It's a 2-prizer that doesn't one shot stuff, but like hitting 160, moving the damage off, retreat, or like whatever, while item and tool locking is like I think it's like pretty insane.
Yeah.
And I've only played against it a couple times, like once online and like once in person, but like I lost so I lost so bad in person. Like I didn't draw the best, but like even if I did, it was over. Like I don't know. I think that like I know the first like couple tournaments it was like boom everywhere, but then like people switched back to like just regular Guardy. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, you look at the meta charts. I mean, Guardy Jellicent, I think gonna go down pretty far refined.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, diving into this format is first off, we get a lot of new tools, right? We get a lot of, great supporters and items and just support in general for decks. So I think there's a lot to see. And also I'm very excited this is a format I get to explore for a little while, right? The first few major tournaments of the new season are also in the same format. So like this is a format that people will have a chance to explore for a while. Right out the gate, like Goldango was the deck to beat, and everyone was like building around that, and it's got a lot of hate, right? Typhlosion
really
as a deck exists because just feasting off of Goldangos, and we got Chiyu's Charizard's kind of making a rise. Real power of Chiyu, the Dragonful Charizard's good. Like Goldango had that like spotlight because people wanted to try it, but now as the dust is settled, of like where is Goldango is actually fitting in this meta, right? We know it has good tools. We know it like on paper is okay into a lot of the top decks, but does it actually have like staying power? Right? When it comes to worlds, like are people gonna show up with Goldango and do well, or is it just gonna like kind of fall flat like it has in a lot of other previous formats? So I'm kind of really curious to see like where this ends up and where people are going to end up on for worlds. They're going to say, hey, I'm going to play, my spread deck and be ready for Goldango, or am I going to, go off meta a little bit and say, hey, I'm picking up Charizard. I got a fire weakness for Goldango, and I'm just playing my picnic basket, and I just have a broken engine of Pidgeot, Rare Charizard to capitalize off of.
Mhm.
So really excited to see how this evolves into the World Championships.
Yeah.
And immediately after the World Championships.
Yeah, those are good thoughts. I think my closing thought is where's the eel? There's not a lot of eel. I mean electric, right? There's Dynamotor's back, and Miraidon's not really hitting. I know Azul's really trying to make it work. I mean, Azul, streamed this weekend with Tord. Had Tord on stream, and they were playing a lot of that versus Goldengos. So, I mean, if anyone's gonna make that deck work, I think I could see Azul trying to make that work for Worlds. So excited to see what he can make. I've been enjoying it in Joltik box, but it can power up anything on your bench, all right? Just if you play a 2/2 electric, like it can power up a lot of different attackers, right? So who knows what we'll see, um, but I think there's a lot more exploring with electric that can be done, and we'll see what happens here in the near future. But next week will be our Worlds episode. We'll bring that to you next week. Hopefully, have it to you by like Tuesday, Wednesday is the goal. I'm moving this weekend, so this presents some logistical challenges, but we'll make it work, and we'll get our thoughts out to you in our predictions. But thanks everyone for tuning into this week's episode of the Beach Court Podcast. That's gonna do it for us, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you.